The Gemara in Shabbos and Chav Aleph Amid Beis tells us when is the Zman Hadalakas Neiros Chanukah? Misha Tishka Achama Ad Shetichla Rego Min Hashuk. So that's a machlokas Rishon on what Misha Tishka Achama means, whether it's Shkia or Seitzach Chavam. That's not today's discussion. We'll focus on the end, the Sof Zman Ad Shetichla Rego Min Hashuk. So the Gemara, so the Rambam learns the Gemara Kipshuto that what happens if you miss Tichla Rego Min Hashuk? You come back, it's late, it's nighttime, and it's past Tichla Rego Min Hashuk. So according to Rambam, it's over. You have lost your mitzvah of Chanukah that night. The Rashba disagrees and says that, what do you mean? It's like if you Purim and you have to have the Megillah and it's 2 a.m., so you still read the Megillah. Everyone agrees. You don't fulfill your mitzvah b'shleimusa with pursuing Nisa, but of course there's a mitzvah midrabanan to do a ma'isa hadlakas near Chanukah. So it's a machlokas, the Rambam versus the Rashba, and Tosfos here is mesupik on whether you can or you can't, depending on which the ego adulik madulik is mashma. You only have until Tishka Rego Min Hashuk. But inami l'shiurei is not telling me the zman, but it's telling me how long the candles have to be lit for. So therefore, the suffix of Tosfos is the machlokas between the Rambam and the Rashba, and the issue seems to be whether you could separate Persume Nisa from the Maisa Hadlaka. The Rashba clearly says yes. The Rambam seems to say no. Tosfos is unclear. So those are the three shitas. Bizman HaGemara. If you miss Tichla Rego Min Hashuk, what do? Rashba says you light outside. Rambam says you do nothing. You missed it. And Tosfos is in short. He says light without a bracha. Those are the three shitas. Comes along the Sefer Atrumas and gives a fourth shita. He said, you know what you do, Bizman HaGemara? You light inside. Just like today we light inside. He said, Bizman HaGemara also, it wasn't ideal that you light inside, but we're not talking with an ideal situation. We are talking about far less than ideal because you missed Tichla Rego Min Hashuk. So the Sefer Trumas writes, you light candles inside your home. So the Sefer Trumas seems to be being cholek on the Bali Tosfos, because in the fact that Tosfos didn't give that option, Tosfos didn't say light inside, and in fact, ubizman hazeh umeyata, now we don't have to worry about it, implying bizman haGemara wasn't an option. So it seems to be a fundamental machlokas rishonim between the Sefer Trumas on one side and the Bali Tosfos on the other, on whether bizman haGemara one was permitted to light candles inside your home. What does it depend on? It depends on how you learn the Gemara, because the Gemara later on talks about to light candles, what to do. You should light outside. Then it says, "V'shas hasakana," during the time of danger, meiniach al shulchano v'dai, you put them inside. So it's clear, b'shas hasakana, people lit candles inside. So how do you learn pshat in that Gemara? Was that a takana miyuchedes? That up until shas sakana, there was no concept of lighting candles inside. So shas sakana, the Chazal reinvented the mitzvah and said you could do it inside. But up until that point, near Chanukah only one was outside. Or do I say no? Shas sakana isn't a new takana. Shas sakana is being descriptive. You always had the potential of lighting inside. It's not going to be the greatest Persume Nisa, because always, and Shas sakana is what brought it out when we actually did it b'poel, but it wasn't any new takana. You were always allowed to light inside. So this seems to be the issue between the Sefer Trumas and the Bali Tosfos. The Bali Tosfos is learning Uveshas sakana is a takana miyuchedes. It's a new takana, and that's why up until then you didn't have the option of lighting inside. Therefore, Tosfos is specific what you do. And the Sefer Truma says no. You always collide inside. Shasa Sakata just brought it to the mainstream. But you're always permitted. This wasn't ideal. So this machlokes, the Bali Tosfos and the Sefer Trumas, whether you can light Chanukah candles inside your home, Bizman HaGemara, seems to be as well a major machlokes achronim between the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram. Where do we see this machlokes, the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram? There's a famous Gemara later on we discussed, I think it's Chaf Gimel Amud Beis or Chaf Daled Amud Beis, one of the two. The Gemara wanted to know if one's afflicted with poverty, you don't have enough money to do many mitzvahs, you only can do one, what do you do? Do you do near Shabbos, near Chanukah, or wine for Kiddush? So the Gemara concludes you do near Shabbos because of Persumei Nisa, and then Chanukah is in second place, Persumei Nisa, and then wine for Kiddush. So the Gemara says...
Why do you do near Shabbos because of Persumei Nisa?
No, you do near Shabbos because of Shalom Bayis. Yeah. Near Shabbos because of Shalom Bayis, yeah. And near Chanukah for Persumei Nisa. And as the Rambam spells out, because Gadol has Shalom, we see a Jew, even though Chanukah represents a tremendous military victory, but a Jew emphasizes the home. That's what it's all about. The home versus, not that you don't need a military, you do, but you don't glorify the military. It's if you need it, you got to fight. But you build the Jewish values in the home. So near Shabbos, Pita, near Chanukah. So that's the Gemara, that if you only have one candle, you use it for near Shabbos. So comes along the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram and asks the same question. What do you mean? Why choose? What's that? Let's make Shalom. Why can't it be Lakan Ulakan? Why can't we use the same candle for Shabbos candles and the Chanukah candles? Why do we have to make a choice either or? That's the question of the Gra and the Magen Avraham. Based on their answer, we'll see that this machlokes is totally on our other machlokes, the Bali Tosfos and the Sefer Truma. So why? What is the Vilna Gaon answer? The Vilna Gaon answers, he says, the Machaber writes in Shulchan Aruch, and the first part, the Gemara, Asur l'shtamesh l'or haner, you can't get benefit from the Chanukah candles, and then the Machaber adds, Va'afilu tashmishe shel mitzvah, tashmish shel kedusha, even for mitzvah purposes, one cannot get benefit. So the people ask, where did the Machaber get it from? There's no Gemara. The Gemara only says the first part of the halacha. You can't count money in front of the Chanukah candles. But where does the Shulchan Aruch get that you can't even do Tashmishe Shel Kedusha? So the Vilna Gaon says, this our Gemara is the source of the Machaber. But the fact the Gemara did not say, go ahead and do Shabbos and Chanukah, why not? Because even for Tashmishi Shel Mitzvah, near Shabbos, you can't use both. You can't use the candles for Chanukah and Shabbos. But the fact the Gemara did not suggest using one candle for both, this is where the Machaber learned the halacha, Afilu Tashva Shel Kedusha. And that's the Vilna Gaon Shita. That's the reason why the Gemara didn't give the answers, because you can't use them for both. So what do we see from the Vilna Gaon? Which Shita? The Vilna Gaon is assuming that one could light inside, except it's a technical Tashmishe Kedusha issue, Yitasu L'Shtamesh Ora. But there's no... Again, we're talking about Bizman HaGemara. We see the Vilna Gaon is working with the Sefer Trumas, that even Bizman HaGemara you're permitted to light inside. The reason why you didn't light inside is because you're not allowed to use the same candle for both. That's the Vilna Gaon's answer. The Magen Avraham says, what are you talking? What kind of question is that? Ridiculous question. How could you use one candle for both? Last I checked, the Magen Avraham says, near Chanukah we do outside, near Shabbos we do inside. So how could you have one candle for both? It's two different makomos. That's what the Magen Avraham answers. So what is clear from the Magen Avram? He's going with the Bali Tosis. So Bizman Gemara, you didn't have an option of lighting inside. So this machlokas sefer trumas versus the Tosis seems to be the machlokas, the Gra and the Machaber, whether Bizman Gemara one is permitted to
the Gra and the Magen Avram.
Gra and the Magen Avram, whether you could light whether you could light inside Bizman Gemara. So I'm asked all the time, Rabbi, does Jewish law change? So I say, well, it depends what you mean. Then I usually get cognitive dissonance or a blank look. I said, I'll explain. If you're asking me, the principles given to Moshe at Har Sinai, could they change? The answer is no. But if you ask me a question today, and ask me the same question 300 years ago, I might not, but I potentially might give you a different answer. So what do I mean? So I'll give you an example right here in our case. So what does the Gemara say? If you only have enough money for Ner Shabbos or Ner Chanukah, you use the money for Ner Shabbos because of Shalom Bayis. So comes along the Magen Avram and says, but Bizman Hazeh, that we light inside, so then the Magen Avram would say, when the Gemara said you choose Ner Shabbos over Ner Chanukah, that's Bizman Gemara when you couldn't light both inside. But Bizman Hazeh, post Shas HaSakana, that you could light inside, so then he says you should use one candle for both. Against the Gra, you should use the same candle for Chanukah and Shabbos. If you can't help it, but if it's the Hefshar, what are you going to do? Not do the mitzvah. Better to violate to get Hana and to do the mitzvah. So it comes out, according to the Magen Avram, during his time, you would take one candle and use it for both. The Vilna Gaon would say, so Bizman Gemara, everyone agrees, Ner Shabbos wins. That's the Gemara. Bizman Magen Avram and the Gra, that's a machlokas, whether, according to the Magen Avram, times have changed, the mitzvahs inside, and therefore you'd use one candle for both. The Gra says times haven't changed, you can always light inside, and you still can't light one candle for both because Asil Sham is Ora. So that'd be during their time, a machlokas Magen Avram and the Gra, whether you could use once post Shas HaKana when you're lighting inside. Can you use one candle for both? Magen Avram says yes. He doesn't spell out what bracha you would make, whether you make both brachas, or what you do first, but he says potentially you could do it. And the Vilna Gaon says you can't do it. However, I want to add, that's Bizman Magen Avram and Vilna Gaon. But Bizman Hazeh, I'd say everyone agrees you could use the candles for Ner Chanukah. I want to pass it against the Gemara. How could I say, the Gemara says Ner Shabbos wins. I want to come along and say, no, use your money for Ner Chanukah. So I'm not arguing. I want to say the Gemara agrees with me, or I agree with the Gemara. The two different realities. I said, the principle still exists. Shalom Bayis beats out Persume Nisa. However, I live in a different reality. Not a different halachic reality, but a different physical reality than the Gemara. Because I live in a time, there's something called electricity. We have lights. And let's, for argument's sake, we'll say incandescent light. That's what most poskim assume, the burning filament, that is a din of age. In fact, that's where Rav Chaim Ozer Gruzinski, when it first came out, there was much discussion about electricity. So he used to make Havdalah over electric light bulb to show you can't do this on Shabbos. This is a din of Eish. So Ramoshe's Choler, Moshe doesn't like electric on making a bracha on it. Most poskim assume even a bracha. So therefore, Bizman Hazeh, we paskin, and it comes up a lot if you're in a hospital, you're stuck on Shabbos. So we paskin, you could use electric bulbs to fulfill your mitzvah on Ner Shabbos, but you cannot use electric lights for Ner Chanukah. So, that's why, in fact, Rav Selevan used to say it all the time. He said, really today, our candles are only Tosefes or. The real light in the house is our light. So what a man or woman, whoever's lighting Shabbos candles, should do is, they should, before they light the candles, they should shut off all the lights in the house, and then turn back the lights they plan on using over Shabbos, then light the candle, and then make the bracha, and the bracha should go on all the light in the house, because that's the Iker light, that's the Iker Shalom Bayis. So therefore, so I want to say, Bizman Hazeh, everyone agree then, you should use Shabbos, use the electric lights for Shabbos, you have Shalom Bayis, and now you have that candle you could use for Ner Chanukah. So that's a example where Jewish the principles don't change. What I mean is, Shalom Bayis beats out Persumei Nisa. But in our reality, we have Shalom Bayis because we have electric lights, and therefore it's Ner Chanukah or Kiddush Ala Yayin. And the Gemara says Persumei Nisa beats out Tadia. So therefore, it's a classical situation where principles don't change, but halacha changes based on. I'll give you another example if you want. One we discussed a couple of weeks ago, when we did the sugya could a wife of a pregnant could a pregnant wife of a Kohen go to a Beis Hakfaras? Could she come in contact with the dead? Because what's the shiloh? We know the Torah says B'nei Aaron v'lo benos Aaron. Only applies to men, not to women. So a wife of a Kohen, a daughter of a Kohen, has no restrictions regarding Tumas Hamei. So what's the shiloh? The shiloh is perhaps she has a boy. Perhaps she has a male inside. And therefore, so there are many answers to the issue. However, just to focus on one nakud, so today we have sonograms. So therefore, there are those who say, if you take a sonogram and you find that it's a male, so then you can't go. In other words, because why? Because the principles don't change. We have the principles in the Talmud. Savik daraisa l'chumra, savik darabanan l'kula, svek sveika l'kula. Those principles don't change. So 300 years ago, before sonograms, there was a svek sveika. Maybe it's a boy, maybe it's a girl, and even if it's a boy, maybe it'll be an ephel. So Bizman HaGemara, it was a case of svek sveika, so it's meko. But Bizman HaZeh, that we have sonograms, and let's assume you already took a sonogram, you needed one for health reasons anyway, you know it's a male, so then we take the principle savik daraisa l'chumra. So it's a classic case where the principles don't change, but the reality, I'm not saying we paskin that way, the different reasons to be mako besides this, but I'm just illustrating the principle where the principles don't change. I'll give you one more example. Since we're in a Beis HaKnesses, and I'm staring at an Aron Kodesh right in front of me. So, what is the status of an Aron Kodesh? We know we have three general categories. The Gemara is Guf HaKedusha, like a Sefer Torah, Tefillin, and Mezuzahs, right? Tashmishe Kedusha, let's say the mantle of the Sefer Torah, right? Something that touches the actual Kedusha. You with me or not?
Yeah.
And number three is Tashmish or Tashmishe Mitzvah. Either one that doesn't touch the Torah directly, it's more, or something like Tashmishe Mitzvah, let's say, when you're doing Lulav and Esrog, it's Man Mitzvah Yesh Kedushasam. But Achar Mitzvah is Rakim. So there's no Kedusha after the, so something which is, so the Gemara tells us in Megillah, Tashmishe Kedusha Nikvarim, you have to bury them. Tashmishe Mitzvah Nizrakim. That's the Gemara. So where does Aron Kodesh fit in? Would you say it's Tashmishe Kedusha or a Tashmish to Tashmish?
It would be Tashmishe Kedusha.
Why?
Because it's covering the... Oh no, because the Sefer Torah have their own covers, so it would be Tashmish to Tashmish.
Yeah, so Pashtus, I would say it's Tashmish to Tashmish, right? That's what I would have said. Except the Gemara Megillah tells me I'm wrong. it's Tashmishe Kedusha. So the shaila is, why is it Tashmishe Kedusha? So that's a whole discussion. The poskim say that anything done, like v'na'eh, if it's done to beautify the Sefer Torah, and they give out, maybe the atzei, the scroll parts, they give different answers why not. Well, halacha we assume they are, even bisman hazeh, but the Karban Nisano is where I want to go with. The Karban Nisano says, Ein achinami, you're right. The Aron Kodesh today is only tashmish to tashmish. The Gemara says it's tashmish to kedusha. Yeah. Bisman Gemara.
Oh, they didn't cover the Torah.
They didn't have. They weren't like wealthy North America, where every Sefer Torah gets its own cover. They put the Sefer Torahs in naked, without any cover. They had one cover, and then whichever Torah they took out, they put the cover on. So therefore, the Torahs itself were directly touching the Aron Kodesh. So therefore, that's what the Kodesh is. Bisman Gemara, they were Tashmishe Kedusha. Bisman Hazeh, it's only a Tashmish to Tashmish. So according to the Karban Nissan, you'll be able to throw out the Aron Kodesh. We don't paskin that. Well, we assume anyway the Aron Kodesh is considered Tashmish Kedusha for other reasons. In fact, that's a similar discussion. What about the Tefillin Zekel? Your Tefillin bag. Is it Tashmish Kedusha or Tashmish the Tashmish?
Tashmish Kedusha, because the tefillin aren't covered.
Yeah, are they not in boxes?
Oh yeah, but not that.
Yeah, so Pasha, so it's actually.
What about the Ritzuos?
Yeah, very good. So that's exactly the Machlokas Rashi and Tosfos. So Rashi considers the Zeko Tashmishe Kedusha. Tosfos says it's Tashmish. What's the Nakuda? Tosfos says the Kedusha is the cloth, the bottom of Tashmishe Kedusha, but the bag's only touching the bottom. It's only a Tashmish. Rashi says no, that's true, but you have letters on the actual Ritzuos. That has the din of Gufa Kedusha, and therefore they're touching the Zekel bag, which make it a Tashmishe Kedusha. Machlokas Rashi and Tosfos, we are machmir like Rashi, not to throw out a tefillin bag, but to put it into shemas. Or similar, what about a mezuzah? A mezuzah cover. What would be the status of a mezuzah cover?
Oh, that would be Tashmish Kedusha.
Right, well it depends, right, so...
Because the mezuzah is...
Is it? It depends. Many people wrap up the mezuzah in saran wrap, and it's all swirled up. It's before, when you get it from the... Most of it's not just, I guess it stays better. It keeps the air out of it.
Right.
So, most of them come with the saran wrap. So one might argue the $1,000 mezuzah cover, that's not Tashmishe Kedusha, but the 10-cent saran wrap, that's Kedusha. So you have to throw out the plastic, but perhaps not the... But we paskin anyway that the mezuzah cover is Tashmishe Kedusha for the other cloth. Anything done for the covet of Torah, for the covet of the cloth, there's two ways it could be Tashmishe Kedusha. Either it touches directly, or it's made lana, or it's made for that purpose. So either, again, we see from the Karma Nisano a classic case where the principles don't change, but halacha changes. That Bisman Gemara, there was no cover, so therefore it had the status of Tashmishe Kedusha. But Bisman Hazeh, it's only a Tashmish to Tashmish. That was one example. We had the Eishes calling Muberis, another example. We had our Gemara right here. That Bisman Gemara, near Bayis, near Shabbos, takes precedence over near Chanuka. But Bisman Hazeh, that we have electric lights, so you use the electric lights for Shabbos. Since Chanukah you can't use electric lights, and therefore I answer a different question today. And as Rav Aaron Soloveitchik pointed out, however, but battery lights you can use, because the reason why you can't use Shabbos lights because hanuka osa mitzvah. At the time you light the candle, you have to have enough oil that the it should spread.
Right.
But if you can't sit there pouring oil over it, so therefore by little electric, it's generated as consumed, so therefore it's a no-go. Or it's not dum the mikdash, many reasons. But by battery, it's all in the battery, and therefore it's a go. So that's a classic distinction. But the bottom line is that the principles remain. Shalom Bayis takes precedence, then Pirsume Nisa, and then Tadir, and that's the major machlokas Rishonim Achronim. When the Gemara says Uvashas HaSakana, was it introducing a new takana? Up until now you weren't allowed to light inside, now you can? Oh no, it wasn't a new takana, it was publicizing an old takana. You could always light inside, but now is the appropriate time to light inside. Hadlokas Neiros Beveis HaKnesses. So we'll discuss tonight the custom of lighting Hanukkah candles in shul, in synagogue. Is this where is the source of it? Is this a valid minhag? My yotze, my mitzvah? So, Muva Berishonim HaMinhag HaHadlik Neiros Chanukah Beveis HaKnesses. The Sefer Iter, the Ritva, the Meiri, they bring down the minhag to light Chanukah candles in the Beis HaKnesses. V'yesh mevakbir b'minhag zeh. And the Shibui Haleket writes, O yadano shoresh ranav l'minhag zeh. Where there's no basis, where does it come from? And other Rishonim are very against this custom. V'huva b'shem Mor Rabbi Yehuda. So Yedimna b'halak nir Chanukah Beis HaKnesses Yivarach Allah. He didn't want to make a bracha. V'chein daiti noteh. So therefore, where is the source for this minhag? So the different reasons brought down in the commentators. Number one is Kevan Shanes Haya B'Mikdash. Since the miracle of Chanukah happened in the Beis HaMikdash, Ratzu Lefarseim Es Hanes, they wanted to publicize the miracle Beveis HaKnesses Shu Mikdash Me'ah. We know the pasuk based on a Gemara Megillah, the pasuk in Yechezkel. But the Beis HaKnesses is a Mikdash Ma'at, and therefore that's why we light in shul. And Baal HaManig Kosei Bat Chalav Yerli the Ein Chiyuva Beis HaKnesses Lahalag Ner Chanukah Kiyim Babayish Adam. But there is no obligation to light in shul except in the place where you live. Mida Amar Kadesha Mezuzah Miyamin V'Ner Chanukah Mismo Ela Shedaito Noik Kach Alzeh Sha'am Ba B'Mikdash. And therefore he quotes the minhag of writing in. So therefore, since the shul is a Mikdash Ma'at, the miracle happened in the Beis HaMikdash, that's where the minhag developed. Another school of thought is Kedei Lefarisem Esanes B'Makam Harabim. That's the Meiri, the Ritva, She'ikar Asibu Mishum Persume Nisa. The main thing is just to publicize the miracle. Generally speaking, the more people in shul than in your home. So therefore, the minhag is to light in your shul, to be yoter persume nisa. A third reason given from the Kobol, kedei lahotzi mishaeno baki ve'eno zariz b'mitzvah, to fulfill the mitzvah of someone who's not capable, who's not well versed on how to do it, and or someone who isn't meticulous in keeping it. Ladas hakobo nago kol makomos lahadilu Beis HaKnesses kedei lahotzi yidei mishaeno baki ve'eno zariz b'mitzvah. V'gam shu hider mitzvah per 7 days. Right. So that's and the question is, difficulty with that is, how could they be yotze? Because we know you need near Rishu Besos, you're not even yotze in the shul. So that's a discussion. Maybe you get the other brachas in Shasanisim, the Shachiyano. So the first answer was, since the miracle happened in the Beis HaMikdash, the Beis HaKnesses is a Mikdash Ma'at, hence we put it there. The second answer of the Rid from the Meiri, it's Yotir Pursume Nisa. The third answer, the Kobo and others, do it for someone who's not careful in observing it, or someone who doesn't know how. And number 4, they bring down B'mei ha'archim, the guests who live in the shul, she'ein lahem bayis lahadlik bo, kamo shetiknu kiddush b'beis ha'knesset. It's patterned after kiddush in the beis ha'knesset, that used to be, people used to live in the shul and they used to make kiddush there. Even though today they don't live in shul, but we still make the kiddush. The king kasav b'beis Yosef, shetiknu lahadlik b'beis ha'knesset v'mei ha'archim she'ein lahem bayis lahadlik bo. The kamosha tiknu kiddush b'beis ha'knesset b'shem archim umosef apri chadash afilu osam makom shevonagu l'kaddish b'beis. Even if your custom is not to make shul in the beis hamikdash, hachamodu mishum pursumi nisa. So 4 different reasons given why you light candles in shul. Either it's a mikdash ma'at. It's kind of like a zeichel, a mikdash, to remember the mikdash, to publicize the miracle, to do the mitzvah for the Eino Baki, or to do the mitzvah for those who either live in shul or don't have a house, don't have a place to live, like by Kiddush. So the minhag is to lie. What about making a bracha? So nechagu harishonim ha'im mevarchem al hadlakas neiros chanukah shel beis ha'knesses. It's a machlokas rishonim whether you make a bracha. Rov rishonim shevu le'el it's a minhag lahadlik b'knesses einu maskirin im yesh levarach alo. Many rishonim who brought it down didn't mention whether you make a bracha or not. So lahalacha hashulchan aruch simin tov reish ayin aleph siv zayin kosev shemadlikim umevarchim mishum pursumi nisa, that you light and you make a bracha because of pursumi nisa. V'chein dat harama v'rov achronim. So yesh olam al lashon hamachav. What do you mean madlikim umevarchim? Re'ei v'nira loma shamachav lo bo haros es. He's not going to tell me the order. Ela lahadgish haminaku lo rak lahadlik b'beis ha'knesses ela gam levarach. That's what he's coming to teach me. Madlikim mevarchim. It's a discussion among the Rishonim. However, not only do we light Chanuka candles in shul, we even make a bracha. What about hadlaka b'bracha k'she'ein asara b'beis ha'knesset? That's why we don't have 10 people in shul. Nechagu achronim ha'im kidei levarach sarach asara b'beis ha'knesset b'zman hadlaka. You need 10 in shul during the time of hadlaka. L'das ha-mor katsir lo tiknu hadlaka b'knesses elo l'tziba b'vad. According to the mor katsir of Yaakov Emden, they only instituted hadlakas neiros in shul when there's a tzibur. Achein amein sham asara, like Erev Shabbos, if you light before mincha. Amna ein lovatu es etzam hadlaka v'lo yivarach ala bracha. You should do it without a bracha if you don't have 10. V'chein kasav baruch hashulchan b'shem debeis David. Umasik hadlak kodem beveso v'yechavan hadlaka. So some say you should have in mind when you make your bracha at home that you cover the one in shul. But when another bring on a mevish of Yishalayim nogan shul levarach im ein minyan, and that's the minhag in Yishalayim. Don't make a bracha erev Shabbos. And haminchas elazar maybe smach ledas. U'chein nogan lahalak gam b'knesses shazu pirsum shalano b'asifa sibur u'gabe hadlakas near Chanukah. And the minhag maybe shag Rav Chaim ibris chayumak b'ver Shabbos and loa yeminim beis ha'knesses shal yivarach hadlaka mishum she'etzam aminim v'halak beis ha'knesses hainu b'shvil hatzibur. The whole reason is for the tzibur. U'kein davka sheisham chalo shem shel tzibur shel tefila yesh chaluk b'bracha. Right, and that's what, that's what Rav Soloveitchik was very makbid, as well, based on Rav Chaim. So what, do you need 10 or not? So, Nechu Achronim Kedei Levarach, O Maspik and Mevoachak, Minyan V'yiru. And there was different opinions, different minhagim. And in fact, what about lighting candles in a school, at a wedding, city hall? So it depends. If you hold the reason is pursuing Nisa, so it's even more pursuing Nisa than the shul. However, if you hold the Mikdash Matter, specifically the base of Mikdash, that's Rav Soloveitchik felt very strongly. The meaning was Dafka in a base HaKnesses and Dafka between Mincha Ma'ariv. Like Rav Chaim said, you need a shame Sibor. So before Mincha you don't have a Sibor. Therefore lighting, you should make a bracha on Erev Shabbos. And now you have a Tzibor, so now you're waiting for Ma'ariv still. So therefore, Dafka he felt you only do it between Mincha and Ma'ariv. And I guess if you have a 2 o'clock Mincha and an 8 o'clock Ma'ariv, so I guess you won't light candles. Im B'Tzibor Yotzin and a Shliach Siva Yotzin B'Lakas B'Beis HaKnesses. Nekol Arishonim B'Matziva Yotzin B'Lakas B'Beis HaKnesses Olo. There's a Machokas Rishonim whether you could be Yotzin. Eviu Le'el Shaladas Kama Rishonim Tiknu B'Lakas B'Beis HaKnesses K'dei L'Hotzi Misheino Baki. V'Zaris V'Tzor K'dei L'Hotzi Arom She'en Lehem L'Varak Sham. Right, so the discussion why. V'B'Lakas Yosha Move Hamalek Kain Yotzi B'Hadlakas Beis HaKnesses. Even it's very difficult, but we assume now. L'alacha Kozer Ramah Ein Adam Yotzi Nerusha Beis HaKnesses V'Sarav Lagzor L'Hayluk B'Beis. So you have to go back and light again. What about Lagzor Barak Bracha Shas and Yisav Shachiyanu? So the Das Achronim Lo Yagzor Hamadiluk Barak Bercha Shachiyanu B'Beis. You don't have to go back and make another Shachiyanu. Elon Kain Hu Motzi Yishta unless you're doing it for someone else, your wife or kid. V'yesh omrim shegam ein chozer levarach bracha shas anisim. V'yesh omrim shechozer levarach kol brachas av pircha shas. The different sheets is whether you repeat the brachas or not. And what about b'beis HaKnesses k'she hidla kodem b'beiso? V'das HaKodem gam im kvar beirach habrachas in your house who chozer b'Knesses levarach gam bracha shachiyanu v'yesh chokim. So that's a discussion whether you make another bracha in the Shechiyanu. Muva b'leked Yoshe v'shem Rabbi Baal Trumas Adeshan shel Talmidim Madrikim b'Beis HaKnesses v'shuv ein tzarok haluk b'makam she'yishenu b'makam she'en lehem kan b'nei bayis halacha l'das ha'akronim memorach ma'aluk b'Beis HaKnesses ein tzarok lagzor l'haluk as a guest in someone else's house. Okay, it's interesting. Zman hanuka shitas harishon buv rishon shemalikim Beis HaKnesses ben tfilas mincha tfilas arvis halakos ramah nogan lahaluk ben mincha ma'ariv. What's the minhag? Smard yesh nagu lahaluk besof arvis v'hayom minhag lahaluk ben mincha ma'ariv. What do you do erev Shabbos? Shitas harishonim shenamigu lahaluk kodem she'adchilu hakol ispal mincha. Lalacha the Ramah brings down v'yesh agen lahalakas Be'erev Shabbos Koda Mincha Yesh Agim Gam Be'erev Shabbos Acha Mincha. Then you have to make sure you daven early, etc. So those are some of the issues regarding the minhag of lighting in shul. Even though you're not Yotze, you need Beiso, but the minhag developed for various reasons, and that is our minhag today. And we follow the Lashon HaMachaber Madlikim umevarchim beveis HaKnesset. The Gemara tells us in Shabbos, and Chav Aleph Amid Beis 21b, the Gemara talks about the Zman Hadlaka, the appropriate, the ideal time for lighting Chanukah candles. So the Gemara says, Mitzvasa, the mitzvah is Mishetishka Hachama Ad Shetichla Regel Min Hashuk. So the first part tells me the earliest time to light Misha Tishka Hachama. What does it mean, Tishka Hachama? So it means sunset, but it's not clear if it means the beginning of sunset or the end of sunset. In other words, it's a major dispute between the Rambam and the Vilna Gaon who say the appropriate time is to light at sunset. So let's say sunset's about, we'll call it 5 o'clock now. So if sunset's 5 o'clock, according to the Rambam, the Gra, that is the time you should light candles at 5 o'clock. And many other Rishonim disagree and say it means Seitzach Chavim, it means nightfall. 42 minutes after sunset, whatever time we want to pick. So that's a major dispute between the Rambam and the Mordechai and others. When is the time to light? Let me just point out, to light at sunset is not a leniency, it's a stringency, because everyone agrees it has to last Achatichel Regel Min Ashuk. It's not a matter of how late it has to go, it's only when you start. So according to the Rambam, or the Gra, we won't be able to use our Hanukkah candles, the traditional Hanukkah candles that most people use, because that only lasts a half an hour. If you're going to use the Chanuka candle, you have to wait until nightfall, or else it wouldn't help, because the Rambam holds that you have to have a more oil or longer candle. So that's, let me just point, it's not a matter of starting earlier and end earlier, that's not the option.
Did he have stock in candle oil?
Apparently. So therefore that's the machokas when you begin, but whenever time you begin, everyone agrees it has to go until there are no more people on the street. But the Rambam writes, where we get approximately about a half an hour after nightfall. So when you light candles at nightfall, you light the typical Hanukkah candles, we assume it's fine. So that's the Zman, that's what the Gemara says. So the question is, Bizman ha-Gemara, that's all we're taught, we haven't discussed Bizman ha-Zeh yet. In the time of the Gemara, what happens if you missed Tichla Regel Min Ashuk? You got home, it was late, and that's it. There's no one on the street anymore. And it was before the days of lights. People walk. People used to wake up early, go to sleep early. So let's say Bizman ha-Gemara, you for whatever reason did not light candles, and it was already Tichla Regel Min Ashuk. So the Rambam writes, you got to wait till tomorrow. It's over. You can no longer fulfill your mitzvah anymore. Once you miss Tichla Regel Min Ashuk, whatever time that is, that's it. The good news is Hanukkah's 8 days. You have 7 more days to fulfill the mitzvah. But tonight's mitzvah is over. That's the opinion of the Rambam. On the other hand, you have the Rashba, who disagrees and says you have all night to light candles, even outside. Of course, ideally, Tichla Regel Min Ashuk is the optimal time. But if you haven't lit yet, just like the Rashba says, let's say it's 2 a.m. and you haven't read the Megillah yet for Purim. Does that mean it's too late? No. Ideally, you should lay it in a time where it's the most Persumei Nisa, where the most people will be there. But if it turns out it's 2 a.m. in the morning and you haven't done the mitzvah, so you do it now. So it's a major dispute between the Rambam and the Rashba. Bizman ha-Gemara, when it was Tichla Regel Min Ashuk, is it too late? The Rambam says it's too late. The Rashba says no, it's never too late. As long as it's still not dawn, Alos HaShachar, it's not too late. The Rambam agrees if it's day 2 and you haven't lit day 1, you missed it. But it's nothing. That's a pragmatic impossibility. But if it's still nightfall, one is permitted to light. That's a major machokas. And Tosfos is mesupik. He's not sure. He says light without a bracha. So what is this Nakudas HaMachlokas? What is the issue here between the Rambam and the suffix of Tosfos seems to be the Machlokas, the Rambam and the Rashba, during the time of the Gemara. It's after Tichla Regel Min Ashuk. There's no one on the street anymore. Are you permitted to light? So we have all 3 shitas. We have the Rambam no, Tosfos without a bracha, and the Rashba with a bracha. So this one, the Gemara itself, we could bring a raya before we give any lumdis, that because the Gemara gives us, says 2 things. The Gemara wants to know what is it coming to teach me. The mitzvah is from Shkia Sachama until Tichla Regel Min Ashuk. So one answer the Gemara says maybe it's coming to tell me the Elo Adlik Madlik. It means if you haven't lit during this time period, then, so let's say I haven't lit at Shkia Sachama, but it's not Tichla Regel Min Ashuk, I could still light. Is that what it's coming to teach me? Or no, Inami L'Shi'urei. It's coming, it's nothing to do with what time I light. It's telling me how much oil or how long the candle has to be lit for. So according to the first approach of the Gemara, it's telling me you only have this time period to light, but even if you're over here, you can still light. The second approach is saying, it's not telling me shkiya seitz, that's a separate discussion. The Gemara is telling me how much oil you need in your menorah. So from the time of Tishka Chama, so what's the difference? Tosfos says that's the difference. That's why I'm a supik. He says, according to school of thought number one, that after Tikkun Rishuk it's over then. It's telling me the Zman Hadlaka, and I only have until that time. But according to the second approach of the Gemara, there's nothing stopping me from lighting after Tikkun Rishuk. It's just telling me how much oil I have to put on my menorah. So that's based on the Gemara. But what is it based on Svara, based on Lamdis? So the commentators explain, the Briskers, others, that the question is, we know that an integral part of the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah is Persumei Nisa, is publicizing the miracle. The question is, can you separate the Maisa Hadlaka, the act of candle lighting, from the act of, in other words, hypothetically, can I have a candle lighting without a Persumei Nisa and still fulfill my mitzvah? So the Rambam seems to say no. By definition, they go together. If there's no Persumei Nisa, there's no longer a mitzvah of Ner Chanukah. Hence, after Tikkun Rishuk, there's nothing to talk. You can light a candle, but it's a meaningless activity because there is no Persumei Nisa. Hence, you don't get the mitzvah of Ner Chanukah. And the Rashba says no. Persumei Nisa luchud ma'isad lakul. Of course, the ideal is to get a Persumei Nisa, but to tell me I can't light Chanukah candles as an independent rabbinical mitzvah, that you can't say. That far we don't go. And therefore, everyone agrees it's not the ideal to light afterwards. But according to the Rambam, it seems to be it's inherent. You can't have one. If you can't do Persumei Nisa, you can't light the candles. And the Rashba says no. Of course you can. And Tosfos is in doubt about it, so he says light without a bracha.
Yeah. The Rashba, he would still say, even if it's not after, if he wants to lift the shuk, it must be the length of time from.
Yeah, exact same time and with the bracha.
Yes.
So the question is there a fourth shita? How could you have a fourth possibility? So comes along the Ritva and quotes the Sefer HaTrumas and says, you know what? I have a fourth idea. You know what you do? Again, this is all Bisman HaGemara. We haven't got to Bisman HaZeh yet. Bisman HaGemara, you know what you would do? You would light candles inside. So we know the Gemara says you light your candles outside across from your mezuzah. Comes along the Sefer HaTrumas, you know what? Once you miss Tikkun Regel Min HaShuk, then you might as well light candles, with the bracha, light candles inside. That is the opinion that's the fourth sheet. So we have no lighting at all, lighting without a bracha, lighting with the bracha outside, then we have lighting with the bracha inside. So clearly Tosfos disagrees with this answer. Why do I say that? Because I haven't told you the second half of Tosfos. Because Tosfos writes, in that same, when he talks about he's not sure lighting without a bracha, he says, but Bisman Hazeh, meaning his time, but still our time, Bisman Hazeh, it wouldn't be an issue because we light inside anyway. In other words, it's clear from Tosfos he's assuming Bisman HaGemara, there was no option of lighting inside your home. The only time lighting inside was a later institution. So the question is, what is the machlok? It's clearly a major machlokas, Tosfos versus the Sefer HaTrumas, whether Bisman HaGemara it was even an option to light inside. Was it even on the table? Because the Gemara clearly says you light outside on the doorpost, Pesach Beso, outside the mezuzah. So what is the issue? Why does Tosfos say you weren't allowed to light inside Bisman HaGemara, and why does the Sefer HaTrumas say yes? So it's based on the Gemara a couple of lines down, also Chaf Aleph Amud Beis. The Gemara says, this is our Gemara, the mitzvah is to light Pesach Beis, right outside your home. If you live in an aliyah, you live by the window on top, but there's the key line. The Gemara says, V'shas HaSakana. And in Jewish history, when it was a time of danger, let's go with Tosfos' time of danger, it was a religious persecution. During many times that if they caught you performing mitzvahs, you'd get put in jail, they'd kill you. So V'shas HaSakana, the Gemara says, Meinicha al shulchano v'dayo. It's enough to put it on your table and that's it. And you can leave it inside your home. So that's the Gemara. So the question is, how do you learn this Gemara? And the Gemara says, Uv'shas HaSakana, in a time of danger, you put it on the table and it's a go. Is the Gemara discovering America here? Okay, maybe Canada. Is it saying is it a new takana? Are we saying something new here? Like, wow, up until now it was usher to light inside. Now the Gemara is saying, you know what? Have some good news for you. We're starting a new institution. You can light inside. That's one possibility, or no? You could always light inside your home. That never changed. Ushasa Sakana brought it out. In other words, you always can light inside or outside, but the rabbi said to light it outside because that's pursuing Nisa. However, during the time of danger, they publicize that not only can you light inside, you have to light inside because you're putting yourself in danger. That's the question, how you learn that Gemara. Is it a new institution? Well, no, it was an old institution that we started to publicize now. That's the machlokas here between the Sefer HaTrumas and the Tosas. Sefer HaTrumas clearly learns you always can light inside. And that's why he says, even Mizman HaGemara, even after Tichla Regel and Hashuk, you light the candles inside your home. And Tosas says that wasn't a possibility. That Shasa Sakana, that was a new institution. So therefore, Tosas doesn't have that option and says, light outside without it. That seems to be a machlokas. We've shown him how you learn this Gemara. And this issue, how you learn the Gemara, is also a machlokas achronim, it would seem, on a totally different issue that we discussed. We discussed the Gemara a little bit last week, I think it was. The Gemara has the famous shaila: is what happens if one is afflicted with poverty and you don't have enough money? You only can buy either near Shabbos or near Chanukah. You only have enough money to buy candles for Shabbos or candles for Chanukah. The Gemara says you buy candles for Shabbos because of Shalom Bayis. So and then the Gemara goes to near Chanukah beats out wine for Kiddush. But either way, the Gemara says if you only have enough money for Shabbos candles or Chanukah candles, you go with Shabbos. That's the Gemara. Comes along the Magen Avram and the Vilna Gaon and asks a simple question. Why do we have to choose? Why not use one candle for both? Why don't we use the same candle for Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah? Like, what do you mean either or? Use the candle for... That's the question of the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram. So two fundamentally different answers. We'll see. They go with... One goes with Tosas, one goes with the Sefer HaTrumas. The Vilna Gaon answers as follows. He says... The Gemara tells us by Ner Chanukah, Asur lehishtamesh la'ora. You can't get benefit from the Chanukah candles. It's supposed to be shown you're doing it for pursuing Nisa. If you're going to be reading by the candles, looks like you just need a light in your house. So as a general rule, Asur lehishtamesh, you can't count your change by it. It's bizoy mitzvah. And then that's all the Gemara says. And the Shulchan Aruch even takes it a step further and says, Afilu l'tashmish kedusha. Even for a mitzvah purposes, you can't use the Chanukah candles. That's the Shulchan Aruch. It doesn't say that in the Gemara. The Shulchan Aruch, the Vilna Gaon has. Where did the Shulchan Aruch get this from? How does the Shulchan Aruch know that even for mitzvah purposes, I can't use the Chanukah candles? So the Vilna Gaon says it's a mafurish Gemara. Maybe it's an explicit Gemara to the Vilna Gaon, but not to anyone else. So which Gemara is he talking about? The Gemara I just quoted. He says, why didn't the Gemara suggest use the same candle for Chanukah and Shabbos? From the fact the Gemara did not suggest it. Why? Because you can't use this. Once you use it for Chanukah candles, you can't use... The whole purpose of Shabbos candles is to get benefit from the candles. The whole purpose of Chanukah is not to get benefits for Sumei Nisa. The fact that Gemara did not suggest it shows it's not an option. You can't use the same candle for both. That's where the Shulchan Aruch got it, that you can't use Ner Chanukah even for mitzvah purposes. That's how the Vilna Gaon answers the Gemara. And the Magen Avram gives a totally different answer. But what do we see from the Vilna Gaon's answer? But we'll get to it in a second. What does the Magen Avram say? The Magen Avram answers, of course the Gemara didn't give that answer because it wasn't a choice. Because why? It's impossible. Because where do we do Ner Shabbos? That we light in our house. Ner Chanukah we light outside. How could we possibly fulfill Ner Shabbos and Ner Chanukah on the same candle? They can't be in two different places at the same time. So therefore the Magen Avraham, that's why, so everyone gives a reason why the Gemara didn't give the answer, but we see from the answers, it's a fundamental machlokas, the Magen Avraham and the Vilna Gaon. That, according to the Magen Avraham, we see that you didn't have an option of lighting candles inside Bisman HaGemara. Else the Gemara, according to the Magen Avraham, it would have been fine. Okay, good, light one candle. His problem is, it's where is the makam. Shabbos is inside, near Chanukah is outside. So it's just a pragmatic impossibility to fulfill both mitzvahs in one candle, because the one mitzvah is done outside, one inside. But
not Bisman Hazeh.
Wait, we'll get to that in a second. But according to the Magen Avraham, according to the Vilna Gaon didn't have a problem with lighting inside near Chanukah. He gave a halachic issue about it. The problem was because it's usher to get benefit from the Chanukah. But what's the implication of the Gra? There's no problem lighting one candle inside and doing both. The issue wasn't like a problem like the Magen Avraham. The more problem was a Tashmisha Kedusha issue. So what do we see? The Vilna Gaon is clearly working with the Sefer HaTrumas, that even Bisman HaGemara, you had the possibility of lighting inside. We just didn't do it, but you could have done it. And according to the Magen Avraham, it's like Tosfos, it wasn't an option, and therefore it's impossible to use one candle for both. So my nafkamina, what's the practical difference according to the Magen Avraham versus the Gra? As Henry's alluding to, that's all true Bisman HaGemara, but Bisman Hazeh, everyone agrees it's post Shas Sakana. We light candles inside our home. So according to the Magen Avraham, in fact the Magen Avraham says it, Bisman Hazeh, if you're stuck with one candle, you could use the same candle for Shabbos and Chanukah. According to the Vilna Gaon, it will make a difference. There's no difference according to the Vilna Gaon, Bisman Hazeh, Bisman HaGemara. You could always light inside. It's still a problem of Tashmisha Shel Kedusha. But according to the Magen Avraham, you're right. He doesn't go into details what bracha you should make, which one first, you do al Shabbos, Chan. He doesn't go into detail, but he says clearly one could use the same candle but that's what you should do. So in fact, we see from the Magen Avraham the classic thing where the principles never change, but the halachic realities do. So according to the Magen Avraham, if you ask this question, Bisman HaGemara, the Gemara, they would say you have to use it for Ner Shabbos. But if you ask the question Bisman of the Magen Avraham, he'd say the principles change, because since now the halachic reality changed. Since now you can light Chanukah inside, hence it's a different shaila. You can fulfill both Ner Shabbos, you can fulfill Shalom Bayis and Persumi Nisa at the same time, according to the Magen Avraham. And I'll take it a step further and I'll say Bisman Hazeh, even the Vilna Gaon would agree that you use the candle for Ner Chanukah. Why? Because we have something today called electricity. I don't know if you heard of it, but we have electric lights. And it used to be Bisman HaGemara, there was a dark. The only lights you had in your house were candles. But Bisman, in fact, and that's the way we paskin, let's say Friday night, for Shabbos candles, one is permitted to use electric lights. Let's say someone's stuck in a hospital. The minhag is still to use candles if you can, but if you're stuck in a hospital, a place, what?
On a cruise.
Yeah, on a cruise. Different places where they don't permit you to light candles because of fire. So one is permitted to get incandescent light bulbs. Yeah. Fluorescent light bulbs don't work, or LED. They don't have a halakhic status of Aish. But a burning filament, that's the famous Rav Chaim Ozer Grzinski, one of the great Gedolim in Europe, that when electricity first came out, he used to use it on his mitzvah of Havdalah. He used to use electric light to show people you can't use these on Shabbos. This is a real din of Aish. So therefore, Bisman Hazeh, even the Vilna Gaon should agree that for Shabbos candles you use the lights. In fact, most poskim hold even a Ramosha ways against the bracha, but many poskim say even with a bracha. And therefore, even in cases where people don't like, let's say you're going out Friday night and you're going to be away for 4 hours, and some people don't feel comfortable leaving candles around. So strictly speaking, one is permitted to use electric lights. Right. So therefore, the Vilna Gaon would say make your Ner Shabbos on electric, and then so you have your candle for Ner Chanukah, because you can't use electric lights for Chanukah. That's a separate issue. Perhaps battery lights you can, as Rav Aaron Soloveitchik, possibly if you're going on a flight, let's say to Israel, during Hanukkah, so you could use a battery light, because by electric, it's generated, it's consumed as generated. Or if I sat there pouring oil for 2 hours, but I wouldn't be yotzi my mitzvah. At the time I light candles, I need the
small battery.
Correct. So therefore, even the Vilna Gaon, to summarize,
Tangible set, just at the right amount.
so to summarize, we had the 4 sheets. What do you do, Bisman HaGemara, when you miss Tichel Regel Men Hashuk? So the Rambam says that's it, your mitzvah is over. Tosas says light without a bracha. The Rashba says you light with a bracha, and the Sefer Tumas says you light inside. The issue is, can you separate Persumi Nisa for the Ma'aseh Hanuka? And therefore they point out that the Machlokas, the Vilna Gaon and the Magen Avram, why can't you use the same candle for both? According to the Vilna Gaon, because Tash Mishel Kedusha. According to the Magen Avram, it's 2 different places. But Bisman Hazeh, according to the Magen Avram, the both inside you can. And Bisman Hazeh, everyone agrees, use the electrolytes for Shabbos and use the Chanukah candles for Chanukah. We were discussing the Gemara in Shabbos and Avchaf Aleph and Beis of my Chanukah. What is Chanukah? Or as Rashi puts it, Aliza Nes Kavua. So the Rambam, when he basically quotes the Gemara, he begins Hilchas Chanukah, which is Perek Gimel, but it's Perek Aleph of Hilchas Chanukah, but it's Perek Gimel because the first 2 Prakim are Purim. And he talks about Chanukah, and he gives us a little history lesson. He tells us V'vayisheni Kishamuchas Yav, and he goes through the whole story of Chanukah before he starts telling us some halachas of Chanukah. So the commentators are bothered. We all know the Rambam himself tells us in his introduction to Mishnah Torah that the purpose of Mishnah Torah is a halachic sefer. It's basically, all you need is the 24 books of Tanakh and Mishnah Torah. That's why people don't like the name Mishnah Torah. They call it the Yad in yeshivas. So he's saying, all you need is me and my 24 books. So the question is, why over here by Chanukah does he go give us a history lesson? Just tell me the halachas. Like by Purim, he doesn't give us a history lesson. So how come by Chanukah he does, and by Purim he doesn't? So simple pshat is the Rambam has an interesting lesson by Purim. He says, "V'hadvarim yiduim." It was common knowledge. Everyone knew about Purim because it happened b'fahersi, happened in front of everybody. So the simple pshat is the Rambam had to tell us the laws of the history behind Chanukah because we don't know it. Chanuka hey. There's nothing in Tanakh about Chanukah. So therefore he has to, by Purim we have the story of Megillah Esther, everyone knows this story. Let me get to the Hilchas Purim. But when it comes to Chanukah, I need to tell me it's a little history so I know what's going on. That's a simple pshat. However, others point out it's a nice answer and it's true, but still it's more than just a history. If the Rambam in Mishnah Torah is telling me history, he's not just telling me history for the sake of history, he's telling me history so I can learn our halachas from it. So what is he getting at in the beginning of Hilchas Chanukah that he elaborates about what happened? What halacha is he trying to tell us? So different Mefarshim give different answers, but one answer is that the Chanukah and Purim are very similar. So therefore when there are some differences, we focus on the differences. So they point out that one of the major differences between Chanukah and Purim is Purim, the Gemara asks, why don't we say Hallel on Purim? On Chanukah we say Hallel. In fact, the Rambam brings down Hilchos Hallel in Chanukah. We say a full Hallel on Chanukah. We don't say Hallel on Purim. Why don't we say Hallel on Purim? So the Gemara gives us 3 answers. One is a geographical answer. The miracle did not happen in Eretz Yisrael. It happened in Chutz La'aretz. Chanukah happened in Israel. Purim happened in Persia and Chutz La'aretz. And therefore, you only say Hallel on a miracle that happened in Eretz Yisrael. The second answer the Gemara gives is Kriyas Zu Hallelu. We do say Hallel. It's just a different form of Hallel. It's called Kriyas HaMegillah. But that's what Megillah Esther is pursuing Nisa, that is the Hallel. And the third answer the Gemara gives is Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anand. We can't say Hallel. The only time you could say Hallel is only if you're in a state of Avdei Hashem, but not Avdei Paro. So therefore, by Yitzias Mitzrayim, we said we are no longer Avdei Paro, we are Avdei Hashem, and therefore we could say Hallel. So that's what the Gemara is saying here. Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anand. Even though we survived the decree of Haman, we were still under the jurisdiction of Achashverosh, therefore it didn't warrant Hallel. So that's what the Rambam's coming to tell me here. The Rambam tells me, after the story, he says, you know what? And after the Chanukah story, the Kohanim, the Chashmanaim, took over the Malchus, Yeser Matayim Shana, for over 200 years. Why is the Rambam focusing that there was Jewish Malchus for 200 years after the days of Chanukah? So that's what he's coming to tell me. The Rambam is telling me the halachic basis for saying Hallel. Because on Purim you can't say Hallel because Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anan. So therefore maybe Akate Avdei Antiochus Anan. And therefore that's what the Rambam is coming to tell me, that Chashmonaim took over the Malchus. It was Jewish controlled Malchus, and therefore it's a Yantiv B'Hoda B'Halel B'Hoda. It's a Yantiv where we could say Hallel. So that's what the Rambam is getting at. Of course you may ask, the Rambam in Hilchos Purim seems to paskin the reason of Kriyasa Zu Halela, not the reason of Akate Avdei Achashverosh. So how do we reconcile what, based, if we want to say the Pshat in the Rambam here, versus what the Rambam says in Hilchos Megillah Purim? So someone to point out it's not a kasha, because there's a famous Meiri. What happens if you're in a town where there's no Megillas Esther? Do you recite Hallel? So the Meiri writes, according to the opinion of Kriyasa Zu Halela, which the Rambam seems to paskin like, you do say Hallel, because the only reason you don't say Hallel is because Megillas Esther takes the place. But if there's no Megillas Esther, you say Ala Hallel. Yet we don't paskin like this Meiri. We don't, even if we don't have a Megillah, we don't say Hallel. So the question is, why not? The Meiri seems very compelling. Why not say Hallel if there's no Megillah? So the Mefarshim point out that because there's two different types of Hallel. The Hallel on Pesach is a Hallel of Nes, of Yitzias Mitzrayim. The Hallel of the Megillah of Purim is God working behind the scenes. Megillah Esther is the only book of Tanakh which God's name isn't mentioned, because all the Nisim happen behind the scenes. So we're thanking God on the Nes Nigla, on the Nes Nister, not the Nes Nigla. The Hallel, the classical Hallel HaMitzri, that's when God breaks the laws of Teva. So then you say that Hallel. But on Purim, it's a different type of Hallel. So that's the Pshat. We don't say Hallel HaMitzri on Purim if we don't have a Megillah, because it's a different type of Hallel. And perhaps that's also why. When do we say Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anan's a problem? That's only on the Hallel HaMitzri, the Hallel on the Nes Nigla. But in the Hallel of Nes Nister, we don't say Hallel. And therefore, it's not an issue of Akate Avdei Achashverosh Anan. So either way, that's one shot in the Rambam. The reason why the Rambam goes into great arichas of history we never goes into before is a halachic reason. He wants to explain why on Hallel we say Chanukah in contrast to Purim, because Purim Akate Avdei Achashverosh, but by Chanukah 200 years of Jewish Malchus. That's what some suggest. Another possibility is the Rambam mentions the Rambam tells me, how does he begin Hilchos Chanukah? He says B'vayisheni, during the second temple. The Gemara doesn't mention. We're agreeing that's when it did happen, but the Gemara My Chanukah did not mention B'vayisheni. So why does the Rambam go out of his way to tell me that this happened during Vayisheni? Who cares? I mean, nice. We do care from a historical point of view, but if he's if it's a halachic sefer, what's the Rambam's halachic angle? Why is he focusing on Vayisheni? So that's what the Mefarshim point out, that we know there's a biblical prohibition about Tosef and about Tigra. There's a biblical prohibition of adding to the Torah and taking away from the Torah. We know there a Navi Rasha L'Chadesh Dava Me'ata. Navi can't change the Torah. If he adds to the Torah, takes away, he's a Navi Sheker. So we know the Torah can't be changed. So the Kshaila, the Gemara even asked the Megillah, so how could you set up a new Yantiv? How could we celebrate Purim? And in fact, that was a major discussion in the Gemara Megillah. Did they have a right? They had to speak to the Nevi'im. Did they have a right to institute a new Yantiv? Is it Baal Tosef? There was a discussion, but the Gemara concluded that yes, you're permitted to institute a new Yantiv. Purim doesn't fall under the rubric of Baal Tosef. And Rashi points out over there, why didn't the Gemara ask the question by Chanukah? Because by Chanukah, it's a pure D'Rabbanan. Everyone knows it's rabbinical, but by Purim you might be concerned. Divrei Kabbalah, Divrei Torah Dami, maybe it's a real problem about Tosef, so we say it's not a problem. So what do we see? We see, what is Baal Tosef? The rabbis have a right to make up rabbinic institutions, but the concern is, if you think a rabbinic institution is a biblical institution, that's Baal Tosef, because the Rambam writes Baal Tosef in two ways. He says there's a Baal Tosef that the classical Baal Tosef, you add 5 minim to a lulav, you add 5 parshios to the tefillin, etc. You have that, and then you have another one. He says another Baal Tosef. He writes, if the Beis Din Hagadol says that mixing chicken and milk is biblical, that's also Baal Tosef. So where does the Rambam get these two different Baal Tosef? So they explain, because the Torah says Baal Tosef twice. Once in the singular and once in the plural. Baal Tosef, and then it says, and one Baal Tosifu, whoever forgets the exact language, but it's written twice, Tosifu or something. It's a Lashon Rabim and Lashon Yachid. So Lashon Rabim is called Yachid v'Yachid. Everyone individually is chayiv and Baal Tosef, but in the Lashon Yachid is the Beis Din Hagadol, is the single unit. That's awarding for the Beis Din Hagadol not to add on. So therefore, that's why the Rambam writes, Advarim Yiduim. Everyone knows Purim was added on by the Nevi'im later on. So therefore, the Rambam specifically, when he begins Hilchos Chanukah, he writes B'vayisheni. This happened in Vayisheni, so it's by the Chachamim. We don't have to worry about Baal Tosef. In fact, that's what the Be'er Yosef explains. He asked, how come if we have something strange by Purim, we don't have it by anywhere else, that there's 2 different days to celebrate Purim. If you live in Jerusalem, you celebrate on the 15th. Everywhere else, you'd celebrate on the 14th. You know, any walled cities in Tam Yeshua Ben Nun. Why did Chazal set up the mitzvah? Usually it's Torah Achasi. Why did Chazal tell us that for the same holiday, people are celebrating it different days? So the Be'er Yosef writes is because we wanted to make it clear that we're celebrating a rabbinical holiday, not a biblical holiday. So everyone's going to know, on a biblical holiday, Pesach is the same day. Sukkot is the same day. But it's only a rabbinical holiday, so therefore different towns could celebrate on different days. And similarly, the Be'er Yosef points out, that's what we find by Chanukah. We find, like nowhere else, the mitzvah is set up. Mahadrin Mahadrim in a Mahadrim. Why did the rabbi set up this mitzvah in such a rare way that we don't find by anywhere else? So the Rambam points out, so the Be'er Yosef points out, is because again, he wanted to make it clear that Chanukah is only a din d'Rabbanan, and therefore it's clear that we're not over Baal Tosef, and we're showing you by doing this mitzvah differently, so everyone's going to know why is Chanukah different, and they're going to know. That's what the Rambam's getting at here. But by Yesheni, during the second temple, this happened, to exclude the problem about Baal Tosef. So the first answer was to teach us about what is halal on Chanukah. The second approach is telling us why the Rambam spells out by Yesheni, because he wants to tell me that to exclude that Baal Tosef isn't a problem here. It was the Chachamim, and based on Gol Sasser Min Adavar, Asher Yagidu Ochal Yamin Ozo, which is actually a sugi in Chanukah, it's the power of the Chachamim, and therefore Chachamim have a right to institute Dinim D'Rabbanan. That's part of the power the Torah gave them. We have other answers, but I think we'll stop here. Maybe we'll do some stuff inside. It might be easier. It might be easier on you.